So this last holiday weekend honestly snuck up on us a bit. When you move across the world, your nervous system is largely in this constant flow state, mixed with being always overstimulated with all the newness. And so it really took me being in talks with this really awesome woman that has a seasonal cafe in the Swedish countryside that I think I might be able to help out this summer. And then my husband realizing he had a 4-day weekend for the Easter weekend to plan this random last-minute trip. We took trains, we missed our stop, we rented our first Swedish rental car, which was really exciting because I honestly miss driving. I don't know if you know me, but I'm a road warrior. And I love the public transport here. It's great, it's amazing. Obviously I've made a ton of videos on it, but I also really enjoyed having a car for a day last Monday. But largely we went into this entire weekend with hardly any expectations. And it made me think about, and a lot went wrong, and we still had a great time. And it made me think about working in weddings, honestly. I've worked a lot of weddings in catering and planning and whatnot. And I pretty much did my whole wedding myself with all the food and everything. And so this one thing I knew is that I didn't want to be a bridezilla. But what is a bridezilla, right? It's these really high expectations for such an important weighted day. I never wanted to get married. I didn't dream about being married at a young age. So my wedding was super chill. Things went wrong and the officiant kept checking in on me to see if I was okay. I'm like kicking back with a glass of wine and my girlfriends. I'm like, I'm fine. Like, this is not a big deal. I'm just happy everybody is here. But I've been to a lot of weddings where one thing goes wrong and it just cascades. And it's not good or bad people, right? It's all about expectation. It made me think about what actually are expectations, right? And when do they really serve us? So journey into the countryside with me for a bit as we go over everything that went wrong and how it was still so right.
There was a point in my life where I realized something had quietly shifted. It wasn't dramatic, but it changed the way that I moved through the world. It was when I stopped expecting things from places that I actually started to see them. Newness became enough. I didn't need a place to be anything specific anymore. I could just experience it as it was. And when that happened, something opened up. Places felt more dynamic, more alive, less like something I needed to understand immediately, and more like something I could just be in. The more places that I've lived and traveled, the more that I've realized that you never really know a place, in the same way that you never really know a person fully. Things are always shifting, they're always evolving. What one person will experience in a single moment can be completely different from what else someone else will see, even just a day later. I remember one time, during a road trip along the southern border of the United States, a friend had told me that they'd been reading my travel blog alongside one of their other friends who was on a very similar journey, and he said something that I'll never forget. While the other person described the experience as exhausting, hot, dry, miserable, he couldn't wait for it to be over, my writing along exactly the same path, days apart, was filled with wonder, with curiosity, and small moments that felt almost magical. And the truth is, it didn't feel like I was doing anything special. I was just in a place in my life where everything was new, every day, every stop, every horizon. So I didn't have anything to compare it to, and nothing to measure it against. I was just seeing everything as it was, and that made all the difference. When we bring strong expectations into an experience, we don't leave much room for it to reveal itself as it is. We've already decided what it should be, and where is the honesty in that? That man wanted something very specific from that trip. He wanted freedom, joy, excitement. And when he didn't find that, he couldn't see anything else. Not because it wasn't there to be found, but because his expectations were louder than the experience itself. And I think we all do that in different ways at different times. So over the years, I've really tried to approach places, and even my entire life in general, with a more open mind. Not in a passive way, but in a way that allows things to naturally unfold. To notice what's actually there, instead of constantly measuring it against what I thought it would be. And what I've truly found is that even in the darkest of circumstances, there's always something to appreciate. I love ending up in places I didn't plan for. Small, quiet towns, little shops, moments of stillness you don't get in the bigger cities. I love being surprised, like noticing the way that water moves through a place, or stumbling into a town that feels completely different than I could have ever imagined. The deep forests here in Sweden, with knobby trees that almost feel like they're watching you. Even simple rock walls that line the old farms that give an ancient quality to everything you pass. And sometimes I think about how different things might be if more of us allowed ourselves to find joy in the small and unexpected things like that. Not in big things or impressive things, but just in what's there. Because at the end of the day, if a beautiful sunset isn't doing it for us, then what is even the point? Training ourselves to need more and more does such a disservice to the immense amount of beauty that's all around us. But you have to leave space for it, and for me, that space came when I stopped expecting so much and started letting things be exactly what they are.
Sweden continues to surprise me in all of the best possible ways. Living a life where I never really know where I'm going to be in the next year allows for such freedom in both presence and perception that I now cannot imagine living without. I think one of the most beautiful things that we can do as humans is to allow things to just be exactly as they are without us needing to push our agendas on them for our own sense of safety or comfort. I strive to exist that way, not just on the days I'm traveling, but any time that I'm witnessing the world in all of her dynamic, authentic beauty. I really wish that kind of freeing, healthful mentality for so many people. And if you've watched all the way this far, I really appreciate you being here. I think next video, maybe what I'm gonna talk about is this crazy travel experience that I had. Probably the most near to death I've ever been, kayaking in British Columbia, because it's been in my brain a lot and I've been dreaming it a lot. So stay tuned.